Bible is full of interesting and amazing facts, but did you know there are unusual things happen in the Bible? Here is a list of some of them which we might not experience in our lifetime. A baby had a scarlet thread tied around its hand before its birth. There is a story about a woman called Tamar in the Bible that she was pregnant by her father-in-law, and Bible says in Genesis chapter 38 that when she was in labor, one put out a hand, and the midwife took and tied a scarlet thread on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." But as he drew back his hand, behold, his brother came out. And she said, "What a breach you have made for yourself." Therefore his name was called Perez. So actually what happened, that the baby which was supposed to come first out, he put his hand out, but he pulled its hand back, and the second one came first. So there is a interesting fact and thing this happened in the Bible. The second thing is here that a donkey was speaking to the prophet. There is a story about a prophet called Balaam. He was a prophet of Israelites, and there was a king Balak who was a king of Moabites, and he wanted Balaam to curse Israelites. But whenever he wanted to curse Israelite, he ended up blessing them. So what King Balak did, that he sent his people and he requested Balaam to come to his place, that he can talk more about it, that if he can still curse the Israelites. So Bible says that when he sat on his donkey and he was on his way to meet King Balak, an angel appeared front of the donkey. Now Balaam could not see the angel, but donkey could see the angel. So whenever angel was appearing with the sword front of the donkey, donkey was moving away from the way, and this was making Balaam angry, and it happened 3 times, and Balaam started beating the donkey. And in Bible it's written like this, that the donkey started talking to Balaam, and donkey said, "What have I done to you that you have struck me these 3 times? Now the Balaam was so frustrated and angry that he could not even realize that an animal was talking to him. So he replied back and he said, "Because you have made a fool of me. I wish I had a sword in my hand, for then I would kill you." There is a strange incident that he does not realize that his donkey is speaking to him. And then donkey replied again, and donkey said, "Am I not your donkey on which you have ridden all your life long to this day? Is it my habit to treat you this way?" And Balaam said, "No." So this is a really unusual thing which happened, which we might not experience. We might have heard that parrots are talking, but here donkey is speaking to a human being, to the Balaam the prophet. Giant who had a bed 13 feet 6 inch long and 6 feet wide. So scholars believe that this giant, maybe he was 12 feet tall. And now in our time, the tallest person from Turkey, his name is Sultan Kosen. He is 8 feet 2 inch, which is approximately 251 centimeter, but he is not the tallest person in the history. The tallest person in the history is recorded by Robert Wadlow, who was 8 feet 11 inch, which is approximately 272 centimeter, but still he is not the tallest person compared to this giant who is mentioned in the Bible. Now there is an interesting fact about Robert Wadlow, that he used to wear 37 US size shoe, but still he is not the tallest person compared to this giant mentioned in the Bible. The next thing what we find here is that the woman who needed to shave their heads before the marriage. Now Israelite, when they wanted to marry a beautiful woman among the captives, they had one condition from God, and it says in the book of Deuteronomy, "And you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife, and you bring her home to your house. She shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall take off the clothes in which she was captured, and shall remain in your house and lament her father and her mother a full month. After that you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife." So we find here unusual ritual here in the Bible when Israelite they wanted to marry the woman among the captives, they needed to shave their head. Sun and moon stood still for a whole day. In the book of Joshua, there is a story that when 5 kings of Amorites, they decided to capture the city of Gibeon, and the people of Gibeon, they requested Joshua to help them, and Joshua went to help them, and it's recorded in the Bible. It says that then Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, sun stand still over Gibeon and moon in the valley of Aijalon. So then sun stood still and the moon stopped till the people had revenge upon their enemy. So what exactly happened here? That earth or probably moon stood still, but the people, when they were fighting, it gave them impression that the sun is not setting anymore, it's fixed. Sun and moon are fixed on its place until they won the battle. So this is interesting and unusual fact. A man who had 12 fingers and 12 toes. In 2 Samuel, there is a story about a man who had 12 fingers and 12 toes. He has 6 fingers in each hand and 6 toes in each foot. Now this is not something unusual completely, which we might not experience, because we have one person alive among us. He is called Yoandri Hernandez from Cuba, who has 12 fingers and 12 toes, exactly same like mentioned in the Bible. And this fact made him famous and helped him to get few bucks also. Man who had 700 wives and 300 concubines. King Solomon, the son of King David, had 700 wives and 300 concubines, so altogether he had 1,000 women. Now in history, there was a king, Fateh Ali Shah Qajar, who was the second king of Persia, who lived from 1772 to 1834, and he had, for these 37 years, he managed to marry around 158 women, but is nothing compared to 1,000 women which King Solomon had. A woman who boiled and ate her son. There is a story in 2 Kings 6 that when the city of Samaria was captured by a king, the food supply was blocked completely. And it says in the Bible like this, now it happened later that Aram's king Ben-Hadad gathered all his forces and went up to attack Samaria. The siege lasted so long that there was a great famine in Samaria. A donkey's head sold for 80 shekels of silver, and a quarter cab of dove's dung for 5 shekel. During this famine, they didn't have anything to eat. Now when the king of Israel was passing by, a woman cried out from the wall, and she started crying out, help, help, help my king. And then king asked, what is troubling you? And in the Bible it's mentioned like this, she answered, a woman said to me, give up your son so we can eat him today. We will eat my son tomorrow. So we cooked and ate my son. The next day I said to her, hand over your son so we can eat him. But she had hidden her son. The son traveled backwards. So according to this story, when King Hezekiah is about to die, and when he prays and God heard his prayer, he was granted 15 years more to live, and God said that this will be sign that his prayer is answered, and this will be sign that God will deliver this city to him. The sun will go 10 degrees backwards. So you can imagine like this, that you are sitting on the beach and you are watching live sunset, and sun is about to go down, but then it returns 10 degrees backwards. So that's something unusual which happened in the Bible.